morning, Sitaram, and welcome to another program in the series Addiction and Recovery. Let me welcome everyone again to this, our first live program for the new year. I know we have been replaying, especially the program last week, we dealt with how can you determine whether you're an alcoholic, a very interesting program that we may be repeating from time to time because it is essential. There's so much misconception about alcoholism and drug addiction that I think that program is always useful. Let me say again, I want to welcome all our listeners in Trinidad and Tobago and on the various platforms that people are listening to us. I know there are a lot of people on Facebook, on YouTube as well. And this program will be posted soon after the completion this morning on both Facebook and YouTube, so that those of you who are busy at work or do not have all that time to listen to the program this morning, you can always come back to it and listen when it's convenient. More so, you can also use this program as a resource because alcoholism and drug addiction being diseases of denial, a lot of people are unwilling to go seek help or go to AA meetings because of the stigma associated with this condition. So a lot of people, listeners, have been reporting to me that they are finding it very useful to send a link to a friend. You know, this is interesting because even before we had this program posted on YouTube, and I've heard from people in Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a little questionnaire that I used on the previous program, 12 questions it is called. There's a pamphlet called you can access anyone, whether you're alcoholic or not. You can go to an AA group and you can get the questionnaire. It's called Who Me. There's a big question mark on it. It's a green pamphlet with a big question mark that says Who Me? And it has the 12 questions and some very valuable information about how you go about making that determination as to whether you're an alcoholic or not. And it has been found to be very, very useful. It is used worldwide and has helped many people to determine that they have a problem because there's a misconception. A lot of people who are alcoholics, persons who are alcoholics, still think they are social drinkers. And again, it is because of the stigma associated with alcoholism. And some people stay in that stage of denial way into the gates of insanity and even death. So that the program, I know a lot of people have been using it to send the link to family members, friends, colleagues, workers who they think may have a problem. And these people will not openly admit that they're going to look at the program. In fact, a lot of time they'll react, or why are you sending me this? You think I'm an alcoholic? But I'll tell you a little secret this morning. Most alcoholics, myself included, when I was drinking, we are not stupid people. We are not foolish. We are aware. Alcoholics are aware of the role alcohol is playing in their life. They're secretly struggling with it, trying all kinds of methods to manage their drinking without getting into trouble. And yes, they will secretly look at the program and they may not respond right away by seeking help. Few of them may, but most of them will react with, disdain and disgust sometimes and express it that you think that they are an alcoholic. But having listened to the program, having read the pamphlet, having gone through the 12 questions, that information becomes a seed that is planted in their minds that makes them aware that one day when they get up in the morning after a heavy night of drinking or have had some serious incident with the law or an accident or a quarrel or separation or a fight in the home or whatever, or a health problem, they will remember that question and they will remember and they will then respond to it. So what you're doing, you're planting a seed of hope when you make this referral. But first, if you want to be able to help an alcoholic or a drug addict, first you need to become aware of the nature of alcoholism. And that is the whole reason for this program. It is really raising awareness among our listeners, because most of you listening are probably not alcoholics, but you know someone. I don't think there's anybody in Trinidad who is not connected to someone who may have an alcohol or a drug problem. In fact, you may not be a blood relative, or you may not be connected to them directly as a friend, but you're surrounded by people in the neighborhood, in the community. And this is an illness that does not only affect the alcoholic or the drug addict. Everyone, even the innocent bystander waiting for a taxi side the road, is at risk from a drunk man behind a steering wheel coming down the road. People in industry, if you're working in tandem with other workers, you could be at risk as well. Imagine an alcoholic or a drug addict operating a crane in the docks, and you down in the hole of the ship. And this man starts to hallucinate, and he dropped the load on you and your colleagues down in the hole. Or worse, if a doctor or a surgeon is in the habit of smoking up before they come to work, or taking a drink to steady their nerves, and you are the patient on that table, operating table, your life could be at risk without you even realizing it. So this is really a national problem. It's a worldwide problem. That and the greatest difficulty here is that most people do not understand the nature of alcoholism. A lot of people still think it's a bad habit. They think you're just weak morally, or you lack that will, not understanding that it is a disease just like hypertension, just like cancer, just like diabetes, where there's no known cure at this point in time. But it can be arrested one day at a time using the methods that have been suggested in this program and is being offered by organizations like Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and all of that. And as I say that, now it is even so much easier with the various applications that are available online. You know, you have Facebook, and you have so many other, you have the Zoom platform, you have Skype, you have a whole lot of ways that people can communicate in confidence. Even as we speak, this program is now being hosted on the Zoom platform. I am no longer at the television station. I am in my office in Central here. And I know that every night you have meetings all over the world. Even as we speak, 24/7, there are meetings in New Zealand, in America, in the United Kingdom, indeed in Trinidad and Tobago. We have meetings here every evening. Sometimes there are meetings during the day as well, to accommodate people who may not have time to, at that time, they're at work or shift work and so on. And you can attend these meetings in total confidence, because you do not have to submit your name. You can put a mnemonic, a nickname, as we say, and you don't need to put your picture or photograph. So you can attend these meetings totally anonymous. You don't have to speak. If you do not want to speak, you can put a note in the chat box and look, I'm only listening, and nobody would ask you a question. And you do not have to sign any form or register or even declare who you are, unless the host of the program, because of the fact that sometimes people are hacking into the program, may ask. So you may want to just say, well, look, I'm a newcomer and I'm attending the meeting. I'm curious. And they know it's not a robot. So there's so many methods available. And I want to again thank this media house for providing this service, and it is free of charge. They do not, nobody pays any money for this except the media house bears all the expenses. And I also want to commend the Mahasabha at this stage, that they have foregone a lot of pecuniary benefits that they could have gained from advertisements and all of that. But this is one of the reasons I chose to be associated with this media house, because they do not advertise alcohol or anything that is bad for you. They have taken a principled position. And again, I want to thank Jason and the people at the station who source all of these videos and very informative documentaries that they present in the lead up to this program. This program is usually going to be divided into two um, segments, because I've found a lot of people have sent remarks to me that, when we record the whole program and post it on YouTube or Facebook, they find it difficult to sit for 45 minutes to an hour to listen to a program. It becomes a little bit tedious and boring. So we will put it in two segments, but this conversation will continue. And I want to let our listeners know that this is an interactive program. You can call the numbers on your screen, you can call the television station, or you can call me after the program at 671-3040, and I will take any questions you have, any concerns. I myself am a professional. I'm involved in the field of drug rehabilitation. I do counseling, and I also offer those services for anyone who would like to get help for alcohol and drug addiction. And let me say that I know that this month being January, it is called a dry month in the field of addiction. Why the dry month? Because a lot of people would have made declarations at Old Year's night. I did that for many, many years. Would have been thinking about giving up alcohol from maybe the whole of 2024 and promising myself that, look, from the 1st of January, I am no longer going to drink any alcohol, and I'll be probably telling my friends and colleagues and my relatives. And I seriously meant it, only to find that, yes, at midnight on the 31st of January, in the old days, I would have gone down on my knees, going to my prayer room, and I would have prayed and asked God to give me the strength to stop drinking. In all earnestness, I would make the resolution. And then the next day, we have a saying in Trinidad, you'd feel like, fish out of water or flying molasses. We have several sayings. When everybody around me were taking a drink now and celebrating New Year's, and all the family would come, and the neighbors drinking, my friends drinking, my relatives who come to visit, they all taking a drink. Even my own relatives who would have said to me a lot of times, that I should seriously consider give up drinking, they will say then, all right, just for today, take a drink, and from tomorrow you'd start, on your sabbatical, on your resolution. And that is all it would take. I was just waiting for that. I was looking for an accomplice for approval, and that one drink would start a whole year again of being on the binge. And I know this is true for a lot of people, and it is not because they were not serious. I knew I was serious. I knew I had to stop drinking. It is not for lack of desire, but I know now I needed support. I couldn't do it alone. And I want to let our listeners know that support is available. But I was reluctant to let anyone know I had a problem. I wanted to fix this myself. I did not want anybody to know I had a problem, and I thought I had a strong will, because everything else, if I said I was going to do something, if I promised anyone I was going to do so or deliver something for them or do something for them, I always came through. I could not understand how come with alcohol I was failing. I had reached to the point where now I was not promising anyone, because when I promised people I would stop or declare that I would stop and I would fail, I would feel really badly embarrassed to face these people, because they would be only too glad to remind me. But boy, they would say, but I thought you were going to stop drinking. Yeah, and that would sting. That was very painful. because I couldn't figure it out. And so I want to let all those people listening to us know that I do understand what you're going through today. If you even have relapsed, even you have reneged on your promise that you made to stop drinking in 2025, I do understand. But if you have gone back to drink, then you must know that this is a disease from which you can relapse. And it is important to have the determination. And once you have that desire to stop, I can show you how to do it. That is what this program is about. If you know someone who has a problem with drinking and would like to stop, of course, if they don't express it, but you know them, parents do, brothers and sisters, siblings know. They can see the transformation that has happened to that person, from the time what we call comorbid, the pre-morbid personality. Before they started to drink and use drugs, they were all very tidy and neat and dependable and honest and hardworking and people of integrity and all of that. And with the introduction of the drugs, you start seeing them, losing that dependability, losing that motivation, starting to changing their friends, looking unkempt, not going to work regularly, giving up school, a whole lot of problems they can see. So you have a fairly good idea of someone who may be having problem with drinking. If you're a supervisor, you'll start seeing the person not most of the time not being able to come to work on a Monday. These are all red flags to tell you here's a worker who is in trouble. And it is estimated in every population in the world, at least about 10% of the population is affected, and these are all estimates. I suspect now with the decriminalization of marijuana and the availability of alcohol and the marketing and all of that, more and more people are now becoming addicted and dependent on various chemicals, not only alcohol. You know, I was speaking to a young man last night who stopped drinking alcohol, but he's having a real hard time giving up marijuana, because he can smoke the marijuana very secretly. He doesn't appear, you know, drunk. Marijuana is a very, very subtle drug, but I would say, without apology, it is the most dangerous drug. And of course, in forthcoming programs, I will deal with that subject. But this morning, I would like for us to take a break at this stage, and we'll come back in a few minutes after a few ads, and we'll continue this discussion. So at this point, we'll go back to the studio,